Hello, I'm Connor Caney.
And I'm Marina Jarema. The Oakleaf Online starts now.
You're watching the Oakleaf Online, a production of the Media 19 class. Today is Thursday, November 4th, 2021.
The McMichaels and Bryan juror selection has finished. Gregory McMichael and his son Travis McMichael, along with their neighbor William Bryan Jr., are accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery on February 3rd, 2020, as he was out for a jog in Brunswick, Georgia. The jurors for the trial have been selected, and only one juror out of the 12 is black. Prospective jurors were questioned about their views on the Confederate flag, Black Lives Matter, and how black people are treated in the criminal justice system. The prosecutors have argued black panelists were intentionally removed from the pool. Judge Timothy Walmsley has declined the prosecutor's request to make the jury more diverse. The trial will start February 7th, 2022.
Climate change is a hot topic in California at the moment. Geologists and environmentalists agree that cycles of droughts and severe rainfall will become the new normal. The spouts of heavy rain don't combat drought, unfortunately, but create new problems such as flash floods and mudslides. However, the rain has marked the end of the fire season, at least. Our climate is a crucial matter here at SRJC. It's incredibly important to us. Fellow students here at the JC have created a brilliant podcast about fires, climate, mental health, and much more. Their podcast, Chronic Catastrophe, has been picked up by NPR and is out on all podcast streaming platforms now. Up next, we have an exclusive interview with two members of Chronic Catastrophe, Nick Vidas and Lauren Spates. Here is the trailer.
A catastrophe is a disaster, a calamity beyond expectation, an event that causes sudden, extraordinary damage and suffering. A catastrophe is a single event, or it's supposed to be. But here in Sonoma County, our catastrophes aren't singular anymore. They keep happening. In the past 4 years, we've dealt with 100-year flood, 6 major wildfires, and countless days of bad air that combined to kill 114 people, burn more land than Houston, Texas, destroy 18,000 buildings, and cause more than 250,000 people to evacuate their homes, some more than once. I'm Lauren Spates, and this is Chronic Catastrophe, a podcast co-hosted by Rebecca Bell, Maritza Camacho, and Nick Vidas, thanks to a grant from California Humanities through the Democracy and Informed Citizen Emerging Journalist Fellowship Program. Each episode of the show will focus on what happens to us when catastrophe is unrelenting, when it's everywhere. What happens to our minds and to our bodies? What happens to our spirit? And is it even worth it to live here? Because if not, where do you move to escape? New episodes drop in October wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Darlene Ducharme, and I'm being joined by Nick Vidas and Lauren Spates. And nice to have you here. I'm glad you could take the time and answer some questions for us about your exciting new project.
It's good to be here.
So you all produced a podcast, 4-part podcast that has now been picked up by NPR. Tell me how this podcast came to be.
Yeah, it started with a grant from California Humanities, which is a statewide organization that supports the arts, and they underwrite stories that aren't necessarily being told in the larger press. So we pitched an idea of talking about what happens to people, the human toll from repeat disaster, because typically the coverage is a lot about the economic losses and the environmental problems related to climate change, and we wanted to fill that gap.
Nick, what about you? How did you get involved?
So I got involved, actually, I was asked by the advisor, Anne, in about late December, or like first week of January, and she said, do you want to be a part of this big idea that we have, this grant? And I just said yes, instantly off the bat. I just wanted to be a part of this. We didn't know what we would be creating at that time, but I knew that I wanted to be a part of it.
That's awesome. So this is about, you've interviewed a lot of people about the chronic disasters that we have that are due to climate change. How did you find the people to interview?
Yeah, the JC is a great resource for us in terms of sources. You know, we're here in Sonoma County, and the JC is a big institution, so there are a lot of people that were directly affected either by fire or flood that we know or are 1 degree of separation away from. So the human stories, the people who tell their stories on the podcast, we're connected to through the JC. And then for some of the experts that we spoke to, and you know, our sitting congressmen, Representatives Huffman and Thompson, we called and explained the grant and what we were doing, and they were all, you know, very pleased to lend their voice.
So how much was that grant?
It was an $11,000 grant.
And that covered all the podcasting costs?
It did, yeah.
It did, yeah. You know, most of it went into just the editing software that we used, and you know, for our own time working on this podcast. I mean, we've been working on it since February, from February to late September. So it's been a long journey, and I just can't believe where it's at now.
Somewhat tedious, but probably gave you a lot of satisfaction to finish this project, because it's well produced. I listened to some of it, and I'm totally impressed.
Thank you.
So where are you going from this? You have 4 podcasts. Would you do this again? I mean, on another subject?
We would love to,
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, I mean, the grant was really the driving force behind it. It wasn't really connected to classwork, so we would need to figure out a way to make that happen, but we would certainly love to dig into something else.
Yeah, and I mean, we've put our blood, sweat, and tears in you know, into this. I mean, there were times where we didn't think that this was going to be finished. I mean, we've had so much going on in this. You know, in this year. I mean, we've each gone through our own little mini chronic catastrophe as you know, as the co-hosts, you know, trying to get this, you know, all together. But it's been so rewarding, and I mean, all my co-hosts are like, I mean, we're family now. I mean, we've been through so much.
Spent a lot of time together. Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate this. Again, this is on NPR. It's a 4-part podcast on disasters in Sonoma County, particularly chronic fires, and how that has affected people personally, spiritually, and pretty much every other human way you can think of. And we are going to go back to Greg, and thank you very much.
Chronic Catastrophe is available on NPR, Spotify, and the Oak Leaf Online. In other news, homelessness can strike for any number of reasons, especially here in California. Natural disasters, pandemics, or an unexpected hospital bill. And in many parts of the United States, housing costs are through the roof. This is why Homes for the Homeless are committed to developing a more affordable and effective housing solution to meet the needs of each individual.
Homes for the Homeless is a nonprofit organization focused on providing innovative, transitional housing solution for homelessness using modular building techniques. This summer, in collaboration with the Boys and Girls Club of Sonoma Marin, the Sonoma County Probation Department, Faro Construction, and many others, local youth were given the opportunity to build 2 portable ADA-compliant bathroom and shower units for the homeless.
Part of what we're doing with Homes for the Homeless is we're giving an avenue for people to find their place and how that they can give back to the community. So we came up with this pilot program to help create an education, awareness, and vocation for all these youths that may have had issues in their lives. With a stick-built unit, they're learning everything you could possibly learn by building a house: roofing and siding and painting and flooring, and you know. And at the end of the day, kids that have had problems in their lives are going to get some direction and have hopefully a good career that pays well. And people that are experiencing homelessness can have the decency of taking a shower.
This vocational program is designed to inspire careers in construction and benefit the most vulnerable youth in our community. Contractors taught the pilot curriculum, including Cal OSHA guidelines and multiple subtrades in the construction field.
It's fantastic to see what opportunity this provides to the youth. And it's really amazing because these skills, these trades, they can take with them into later life. Hopefully learning to take pride in their work, and you know, so it's a thrill to see. Hopefully, you know, who knows exactly what the future's going to bring, but at least, you know, it kind of sets the groundwork for opportunities.
The modular nature of the housing enables both rapid installation and removal, should it become necessary to relocate the project to meet the shifting needs of the local community.
Hold it. You got it. Hold it. There you go.
We're developing scopes of work, a curriculum, and a syllabus that we will use for future builds. The idea is that this is a program that we can incorporate locally, statewide, and also nationally. We're so excited about how readily willing and able these folks are to participate and to help out our community and to the cause that we're involved with.
Additionally, the flexibility offered by modular housing's ease of transportation ensures resources can be deployed where they are in most demand.
We're all true believers, and we really do believe in transformation instead of transactional occurrences for young people. If you believe in them, they will succeed.
Their ultimate goal is to create a supported and guided path that takes in residents from initial intake all the way through reintegration into the community.
I see a project like this going first all across the United States. I think it's an incredible project to help out the homeless. I really do. It's in deep need, and it's been that way for years. And hopefully it'll spread across the globe. That would be wonderful, because the United States isn't the only place that has homeless people.
Media 19's Julian Ochoa and Denitra Trader reporting.
Homelessness is a worldwide problem that can be one of the worst things that can happen to someone. If you'd like to help lessen this effect, volunteer at homesforthehomeless.org. Up next, we have Finn Higgins with last weekend's box office movie earnings.
Thank you, Connor. This past weekend saw quite the drop in earnings. October 29th through 31st saw a near $62 million gross, which is a 32% drop from last weekend. October was a great month for the box office. Nearly all 4 weekends saw a $100 million gross. Just this past weekend, Dune topped the box office with a gross of $15 million, which totals a gross of $69 million domestic and $224 million internationally. Halloween Kills slashed its way into second with an $8 million earning, making it a very successful release already. Previous release films No Time to Die gets third with $7 million, and Venom Let There Be Carnage causes carnage with $5 million. This week had 3 new releases: My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission, which places fourth with $6 million gross. Meanwhile, Antlers and Last Night in Soho come in at $4 million each. A fantastic month for film lovers, to say the least, and with some great films releasing soon, I know this year will end with a bang. Back to you, Marina.
Thank you, Finn. I'm excited to announce movies are back. Speaking of which, this weekend is a big one. Over 10 new movies released this upcoming weekend, with Marvel's Eternals leading the charge. The following weekend sees the release of one of the potentially biggest films of all time, Clifford the Big Red Dog, comes out November 10th.
That concludes this episode of Oakleaf Online. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the 2021 Media 19 class.